The employees side, whatever they really want from the employer will be drafted in this collective bargaining. Now, the government of India took note on the intention of both the industrial partners together for mutual settlement of differences in a spirit of cooperation and goodwill. Industrial Tribunal. Now, the tribunal will consist of one person of a rank of a High Court judge. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidyashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to all the students for the fourth session here. Now here in this session, I'm going to teach you something more about the industrial dispute, what exactly happens there. The first topic here is prevention of industrial disputes. Now in the last topic, I told you what exactly it is. That is, when we go with the prevention of industrial dispute, the first point itself is what? The collective bargaining. Now what happens in this collective bargaining is very simple here. Now we have this trade union representative, that is the leader. We have the leader here. Now we have one more here, that is the employer side. There will be a one representative. Sometimes the top level management people, they actually come, or sometimes the employer himself will actually be there or herself will be there. Now what happens, we have something called the collective bargaining. Now what exactly it is? The employees side, whatever they really want from the employer will be drafted in this collective bargaining. And in the meanwhile, here from the employer to the employees, what the employer wants the employees to do it is also written in that collective bargaining. Then they come to a settlement saying that these are the things which we can do it and these are the things which we cannot do it from the employer side. The same way here in the employee side is what? The same kind of a thing, that is what we can do and what we cannot do. All these things will be given in the both the sides here. Now that is the first thing, is what? Collective bargaining. And the second one here we have is National Arbitration Promotion Board. Now what exactly happens in this promotion board is, there will be three parties. One is the employer, another is the employee or the laborers, and then one person is a neutral who acts like a third party. Now there, the National Arbitration Promotion Board, in the sense that particular party who is a neutral, they'll listen to both of their arguments. Later they'll go for more information for those particular sources, and then they go with their judgment. Grievance redressal procedures. See, the grievance actually happens from the laborer's side and the employee side. That is how grievance have not been actually answered by the employer. That is what the grievance redressal procedures will be there, where they will actually see that who is a person who is actually not getting justice. The implementation machinery. Then we have workers management, that is workers participation in management, tripartite bodies, and the last one is the model standing orders. Now here model standing orders are those orders where they have a standard of models, which seeing to that we can actually learn from that. Now the first one here, collective bargaining, I explained it to you. The second one we have is National Arbitration Promotion Board. Now the Truce Resolution 1962 and the Code of Discipline, which was involved in 1958, recognize the principle of voluntary arbitration. There can be a voluntary arbitration. That means the third party can voluntarily come for a settlement or for a arbitration. Now the government of India took note on the intention of both the industrial partners and set up the National Arbitration Promotion Board in July 1967. So it is legal. That is, the government of India has only initiated this kind of arbitration. Now what is this arbitration is? Arbitration is a procedure in which neutral third party, there will be what? Neutral third party. As I told you here, we have employees with laborer and we have the employer. Now we have the employer with the top level management. Now there is one particular person who is the third party. Now he will act like an arbitrator. Now he'll listen to both the parties. Then he'll get more information regarding both, and then he comes for a settlement. Now studies and the bargaining situation, listen to both the parties and gathers information and then makes a recommendation that are building on the parties. That is, he can only recommend, he cannot settle it. He can recommend to both the parties so that both the parties will not go to any other industrial disputes or any other kind of a violations. Grievance redressal procedure. Now here what happens is the employees and the laborers who have been not getting justice, now they are the one who are supposed to get the grievance redressal. Now grievance may be understood as an employee's dissatisfaction or feeling of personal injustice relating to his or her employment relationship. So grievance is generally well defined in the collective bargaining agreement itself. What are the things the employees and the laborers have been betrayed, or are they being over exploited? Everything will be written in the collective bargaining. The Indian Labour Conference in 1958 evolved a code of discipline which was ratified by the National Trade Union and Employees Organization. So we need to go for what? Redressal of the grievances. The implementation machinery. Now here the central, if you understand that whenever we go with any kind of the implementation machineries, please understand the central organizations of workers and employers have set up few of the machineries to screen cases of industrial dispute before they are taken to the court with a view to reducing litigation. Now please understand, they are the one who have set an example to resolve disputes. Now what happens is those machineries which is actually granted by the national central government, what they actually do is they see to it both parties will see the other disputes of other different states or the union territories, and then they come to an agreement that if we also go with the same stream, then we'll also end up in the same disputes. So that is what the implementation machineries will actually go with. The main function of consultative machineries is to bring the parties together for mutual settlement of differences in a spirit of cooperation and goodwill. So here what happens is, it is again an approach where they'll tell the employer as well as the laborer saying that if you go to the next extent, what can be the result. So that's why mutually you come to an agreement and resolve your problems. Workers' participation in management. Now this is a very interesting topic and you people have learned what exactly workers' participation in the management is. Here the scheme is very important. The important scheme of workers' participations are the work committees consisting, that is, of representative of employer as well as employee. Now there will be a representative of the employer and there will be a representative of the labor, where every industry undertake employing 100 or more workers is under an obligation to set up. That is, the working committee should be there. Its main purpose to promote industrial relations. So there will be not any kind of a disputes within the organization because there people are there who are a representative of employer and a representative of labor. Now, Joint Management Council. The government suggested to setting up Joint Management Council to make a start in labor practice or labor participating in the management. So labor need to participate in the management. So that's the reason the government has only initiative with the Joint Management Council. Shop Council is one more thing is that is, it has been set up in the manufacturing and mining industry. Please understand, manufacturing and mining industry, employing 500 or more workers in private, public and joint sectors. Next is its main function to assist the management in achieving production targets. So whoever goes for manufacturing or the mining, so what is that? They have joined the Shop Council, where Shop Council is for people who are like minimum, if they have the workers like 500 and more, then they are supposed to go with Shop Council. Now what is that? They go with the achievement in the sense they achieve with the production targets, improving production, productivity, efficiency, eliminating wastage, and all these things are the objective of Shop Council. Then we have Joint Council. See, don't get confused with Joint Management Council and Joint Council. And Joint Council, it has been established for the whole unit and deals with matters relating to optimum production and efficiency and the fixation of productivity norms for man and machine for the unit as a whole. That means each and every production counts, each and every employee counts, each and every machine counts. So here in joint council, what happens is the objective is very simple: optimum utilization of man, machine and resources. Next is tri-party bodies. Now here tri-party, again the word tri-party says there are three persons. Now tri-party body composed of employer, employee and the government. Now there is an intervention of the government has been set up for the consultation and discussion on problem of labor to solve it. Now it is the government who will actually come. Government who will actually come for the rescue of the laborer or the rescue of the employer. Model standing orders. A government enacted the Industrial Employment, that is a Standing Order Act in 1946 for the avoid friction amongst employers and the employee. If any kind of a dispute is there, who will actually be there? The government will be there who will actually enact. Now here what actually happens is the government will see to it that the laborers are being betrayed by the employer or the employer has been betrayed by the laborers. This act is required for the employers in the establishment to diffuse with sufficient precision the condition of employment under him and to make them known to all the workers. So here what happens is this model standing order, the government will actually see to both the parties and then they go for one kind of an agreement. Settlement of ID. Now, how to go with settlement of ID? Now, industrial dispute has happened. How to go for the settlement? Now, if dispute could not prevent on voluntary basis and do arise, steps have to be taken for the settlement. What are the settlements? Industrial Dispute Act of 1947 has amended in 1982 provides several provisions for settling the disputes. Now, various method and provision for resolving the disputes are listed here. Now, I'll tell you how the settlement will happen. So when we go with the method for resolving disputes, now these are the steps which we are supposed to go with. The first one here is arbitration. Now I told you there will be how many? There will be like three parties. One is the employer or the top level. Next we have is the employee or laborer. Next is the third party. Now this party will be like a neutral to both. He'll listen to each and every agreement and whatever the discomfort is, he'll actually go with. Then he'll come for a settlement. Then conciliation. Now you have that collective bargaining also you have studied. Code of discipline. You are supposed to maintain a code of discipline in both the ways. Grievance procedure, adjudication, then consultative machineries. Now all these things are what? They always go for what? That is solve the disputes. Any disputes is there, then they are supposed to go with what? Arbitration, conciliation, collective bargaining, code of discipline, grievance procedure, adjudication, consultative machinery. So these are the steps which they are supposed to follow. Next we have types of semi-judicial bodies. Judicial bodies. What are the judicial bodies here? We have as labor court, industrial tribunal, national tribunal. So we have labor court, industrial tribunals, and then we have national tribunals. So the first one here we have is labor court. Now labor court shall consist of one person only to be appointed by the appropriate government. So there will be what? One person here. Labor court for adjudication of industrial disputes relating to disputed orders of the employers. Example, dismissal, discharge and suspension of employees, application and interpretation of standing orders, withdrawal of any concession or privilege, legality or otherwise of any strike or lockdown, etc. All these things will go to a labor court where there is one particular judge and he will actually see to both the parties, that is the employer and the laborer, and he comes for a judgment. So what all will happen here is in the labor court is whatever has happened wrong from the employer side, whether it is right or wrong, if the laborers will go for a challenge, they can go to the labor court for a challenge. Industrial tribunal. Now the tribunal will consist of one person of a rank of a high court judge by state government. By whom? By the state government. These tribunals solve out the disputes relating to wages, hours of work and rest, intervals, leave with pay, holiday, compensatory and other allowance, that is bonus, profit sharing, provident fund, retrenchment, gratuity and etc. So that means here you will understand for each and every court which particular argument or which particular judgment will actually suit for. Whether if you have any problem with the dismissal or you would have been fired not because of not giving a proper explanation. Now you can't come to the industrial tribunal, you need to go to the labor court. Now if there is any problem with your bonus, your pay or any kind of a paid leave or unpaid leave, now you can't go to the labor court, you are supposed to come to the industrial tribunal. And the last one here we have is national tribunal. Now the national tribunal, in the sense what, there is a difference between industrial tribunal and national tribunal. In industrial tribunal you will actually go for the state government affairs. If you are supposed to go to the national tribunal, it is all for the central government. Now national tribunal are set up by the central government for the adjudication of the industrial dispute which involves the question of national importance or which affect industrial establishment situated in more than one state. It gives decision on matters referred to it by the central government, which matters if they refer to the national tribunal by central government. And here in the national tribunal what happens is it shall be deemed to be quashed. Now understand here, any business which is situated in two or more states, say example we have here Karnataka, here we have Maharashtra. If that particular industrial dispute happened only in Karnataka, then we will go with the industrial tribunals. But if it is like you have two of the branches, one in Karnataka, one more is in Maharashtra, say now here what happens is you will actually go to the central government. Now central government will actually have one kind of a thing, that is a national tribunal. Now national tribunal people will actually come and they will solve the disputes between the Karnataka and the Maharashtra board here. So this is what the national tribunal is. So you got to know how to settle with the industrial dispute. But before that, let me just tell you, we should always maintain a peace between the employer and the employee relation, employer and the labor relation, because only when those two parties are happy, then the productivity and profitability of the industry will go high. Or else if there is any kind of an industrial dispute, then there will be a problem for both the parties here. And the third party will actually gain more interest out of these two fights. So that is the reason prevention is better than cure. So any difficulty in actually going with industrial disputes, you can call us. We are always there to help you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you when I see you.